welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm here with comedian Stephen Rogers. Stephen, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Natalie. I'm excited.
It's always those 10 seconds in the beginning of the podcast of silence that we've got to do that you really crack me.
It really made me nervous.
Yeah.
I've never had someone say be quiet for 10 seconds, and that was the longest 10 seconds of my life.
I don't think it was 10 seconds.
No, it was crazy, but we did it.
We did. I've been excited to have you on. I've been thinking about this. Oh, the water is making me anxious. I've been thinking about this. You've been on late night and all this stuff, and
Sure.
and I've been watching your material. You talk a lot about anxiety.
Yes.
And anxiety is something that I am all too familiar with.
Yeah. As am I. So it's a perfect match today. I'm very nervous. I'm nervous about your water now that you mentioned it.
Doesn't it look like it's about to spill?
I would love to take a sip, or don't. We could live on the edge.
Living on the edge.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know what else. Yeah.
What's your experience with anxiety? I mean, let's talk about it. Let's get into the thick of it.
I have had it since as long as I can remember. Didn't know that I had it. And then I had a huge panic attack that I went to the hospital, thought it was a heart attack at 23. And the doctor was very flippant about it. He's like, no, that was anxiety. And he didn't. That was sort of my diagnosis, was very you're an inconvenience right now. Get out of here so I can work on real people with actual problems. And then I had to do my own research. I'm from upstate New York, and mental health isn't a huge thing at the time. So I had to do all the research myself. And then the only people that knew about anxiety that I knew were comedians. So I learned from my friends and stuff. And then when I moved to New York, started going to the therapy. So it's it's been a long journey, been a long time. Yeah.
Did you feel offended at first when you felt like this was a physical thing happening to you and someone said, that's just anxiety?
Yeah. I was in the ambulance and they did good cop, bad cop. The paramedics, one guy was like, what did you take? And I'm like, nothing. He's like, you're on coke or something. Your heart is through the roof. And I'm like, I got nothing in my system. I had a beer. I was at a show when I had the panic attack. I was like, I've had one beer, and comics were smoking weed, and I joined them with very little. I felt fine. Then all of a sudden it just came out of nowhere. And then when they ran tests on me, there was no weed in my system. So they were like, you're on something. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm dying. And they did not care. And then I went to the hospital and fell asleep or passed out, and then just drove home embarrassed the next morning. It was the worst drive ever. I felt crazy, and then no one cared. And the big thing I got, which was in the late night, was somebody was like, oh, well, everybody has anxiety, was the big thing I got, because everybody gets anxious, but not everybody has anxiety. And people were just very dismissive of it. But I think in hindsight, it's because not a lot of people know about it, and we're still learning. So I had to do all of it myself, and it was very, very frustrating, which I'm sure is similar to most people's experience.
What's a piece of advice you wish you could tell yourself then that you know now?
Oh, that's a great question. I heard I've got friends that are in therapy. I've had friends that their parents are therapists, and one thing I heard was roughly a panic attack is about 20 minutes on average. So just hold on for 20 minutes. Set a timer is something I've learned in therapy, is set a timer for 20 minutes. Chances are your mood is on its way to changing or has changed, or the ride is over.
Right.
And there is no fighting it. When you're as far as a panic attack, you're in it, and it's going to happen. There are things to help you ease the tension, but it is going to happen whether you fight it or not. So radical acceptance would be my advice. Just focus on the things you can control, put yourself in an environment that you're somewhat more comfortable. Weighted blanket, lifesaver. Holy crap. Get one of those. temperature is a big thing. I believe cold therapy is something I'm learning more about.
What's cold therapy?
I'm still learning about it, but there's a Netflix episode of Goop of this, but the guy that submerges himself in cold water, how it does good for the body, the stress of the temperature. So if you do like a cold shower, that is sort of like a wake me up experience. I'm not as educated in it yet, but I've learned that cold temperatures are very helpful at times. I think maybe just shivering it out. I don't know, the physical.
Do you ever feel do you feel like your panic attacks are all about, and you don't have to share what it is, do you feel like they're all about a similar thing happening? Like, are they all centered around the same thing? And do you ever feel like you're going to have a panic attack? I will feel that like will have panic about having a panic attack in the wrong situation.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is a thing that matters to me, or this is a situation where it wouldn't be safe to have a panic attack because I can't escape it, like a plane or a train or a place that I can't leave.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm worried about going in an enclosed space because I wouldn't be able to leave if I didn't feel safe or had a panic attack.
Yeah. So I believe that is panic disorder.
Love it.
Which I think I have as well. And that is the fear. That was one of the first things I found when in my journey of anxiety, was that one of the symptoms was being afraid of having another panic attack. And that is another radical acceptance thing that has helped me a little bit. It's been I still worry about having them because I'm afraid of flying, and I work every weekend on the road, so I fly every weekend. I'm way better at flying now, but the takeoff and turbulence during it, I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. And so I meditate now. I've been meditating for like a year and change. And that helps a little bit, just the breathing and the letting go kind of stuff. But that is a big thing with me, is fear of having another panic attack. I've heard separation anxiety can be a little bit of a panic attack and panic inducer. So is like at the end of a road weekend where I had a lot of fun on the road, I notice that window between I'm being done and going home, I'm very anxious and sad. Yeah. There's like the separation from this moment, you know, or the night before a flight, I feel the same way going to the road, leaving a family visit or any sort of thing, some sort of separation. That's a big trigger with myself and I think most people. And then getting caught up in, most of it is in things I can't control. How I'm doing, like on social media, which is, I hate that I care. All stuff like that. Stuff that is out of my control is usually the triggers for me.
100%. I used to have a terrible fear of like, I was fine with the subway growing up in New York, but then after I went to college and I came back, I was like terrified of subways, trains, flying. And again, I also fly all the time, but I've like worked through a lot of it, but it's funny because sometimes I take a minute, I'm like, I can't believe that I'm able to do this now and that I've worked through this. I never would have imagined that I would be able to fly all the time. Or like when I worked at a coffee shop, I would have closing shifts where I would work just by myself. And I was so afraid of being the only person working that I would have my roommate come and sit with me while I closed because I was afraid of being the only person working. What if I had a panic attack while I was working? Then there were customers that came in and I couldn't help them because I was the only person working. So my roommate Kelsey would sit with me for like as much as I could convince her to, because I didn't want to be, or my mom, because I didn't want to be the only person working at that time. And sometimes I forget to take a moment of gratitude of like how much I've been able to work through my anxiety. Like sometimes I'll be at the airport, I'm like, I can fly without getting anxious, or like it's weird because in those moments you feel like you'll never be able to get through that.
Yeah. Do you think you're gonna die? Or I always worry about the being watched while having one too. Like people seeing me have one is I don't know if embarrassing is the word, but it's just more like mortifying to freak out in front of strangers is another thing too. Just the vulnerability of it. Like, and I was, the train has been a big thing for me in the past year. I was attacked on the subway platform.
What happened?
A guy walked by and spit in my face and punched me in the face. And yeah. So for like the past year or so, I had to work up the courage. I would still that's the thing. Like, it doesn't stop me from doing anything. It just makes the doing of the thing that much more anxiety inducing.
Right.
So like, I was still taking the train a bunch, but at that point, I thought everyone was going to jump me or hit me or anything. Oh my God, does this person? I thought everyone was going to attack me for a little while. But I still took the train every day and just tried to figure it. Exposure therapy is another thing that because you can't stop these things from letting you live your life. Otherwise, it's just going to be the list of things you're going to do are short. It's just going to get really short. So I do everything while still being afraid.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's crazy that happened.
Yeah. I was wearing a shirt that said, "Please spit on my face and hit me," but I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think it was a coincidence.
That's horrifying. What did you do in that moment?
I froze because the first instinct I had was to fight back, but I already fast forward to, me fighting back is one of us or both of us on the tracks, because we were right up on I was like a couple feet back away from the tracks, but he was between me and the edge of the platform. And I'm like, well, if I hit him, if I push him away, he's on the tracks. And I either kill the guy or have to help this guy who just attacked me.
Oh, my God. That's the worst case scenario here.
Right. So I just froze, and I was like, all right, I got to get out of here. But clearly, I'm this guy's target. So he is going to come back, because after he hit me, he looked back like, hey, are we going to do this or not?
Why?
I don't know.
Do you ever think, did you ask that in your head, or were you just like, this guy's crazy?
At the time, I wasn't thinking why. I was like, I got to get away from this guy, but I'm not going to run. I'm not going to give him what he wants. So I'm not going to fight him, and I'm not going to run. I'm going to walk out of here. And I was walking towards the one exit, and I was like, well, if I'm guessing what this guy is going to do correctly, he is going to try to beat me to the other side of the turnstile and like get me there, and scare me there. So I pretended to go towards the turnstile, and then I turned, and sure enough, he was waiting on the other end of the turnstile, saw that I faked him out, got mad, jumped the turnstile, but couldn't get to me because at this point, everyone was freaking out and trying to get out. So there was a crowd of people trying to leave, and he was spitting on them to make a path to get to me.
Why?
I don't know. And then I just got by after that and left. At that point, the cops were being called and all that stuff. But I was
How many people? Was it a crowded train station?
It was maybe 10 people or something like that.
Not enough people.
Not enough people. And they all watched as this stuff happened.
I hate it when they weren't doing anything.
No.
That's the fucking, that's like, oh man, I feel like I learned that psychology 101 in 9th grade.
Yeah.
It's like when there are people around, they do nothing.
They don't do anything.
If there was one person, maybe they would have helped. But if there's a lot of people, they do fucking nothing.
They didn't do anything.
Fucking New York. That's why people say, oh, why do you hate New York? Because this is why. They see bad shit happen and they just go.
Yeah, it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, nobody. And like even when they were all running out as I walked out, nobody
it's like,
asked
are you
if I was,
okay?
Nobody, yeah. But I get it. You got to protect yourself or whatever.
Well,
but
one person could have said, are you okay?
Yeah.
But that's one. I mean, we don't ask for much in this goddamn world. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but that's where, therapy and meditation, I'm over. I've seen that guy since.
How have you seen it? It was near where you live.
He lives in the station, I think.
Is that the station that you frequent?
It's near one of the clubs I work, so it's
thank God I drive.
Yeah, I always forget. It's the 23rd Street, the 6th stop.
Do you, oh my God, do you see him? And
I've seen him
things?
twice, and he's looked right through me, and I'm like, wow, I'm not even special. This was my first punch.
I'm nothing to you.
Yeah.
I thought we were forming a relationship of hate.
Yeah. I saved my face for this guy, and he doesn't remember me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you a germaphobe?
No, but that night I boiled my face in hot water because that was the
COVID.
May of COVID.
Oh my God.
I had a mask on at the time, so nothing like went in me, but I was still like This guy, I just moved with my fiance Caitlin, and we were in this new place. We were very happy, and it was like maybe a couple weeks into living there, and I just went straight into the shower and burned my face off in the shower.
In the shower?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I ordered Domino's.
No, you deserved it.
I deserved it, you know?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on a lighter note, that's horrible. You are engaged.
I'm engaged, yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's going great.
That's lovely to Caitlin Palupa, a lovely comedian.
Very funny comedian.
Very funny.
Yeah, she's great.
Lovely. What is it like being engaged to another comedian?
It's
or dating another comedian. What is it like? What is that?
It's fun. I mean, like they understand, as you know, they understand your life. So there's not that explanation of, hey, can't hang out this weekend,
right.
or date night is non-existent for the most part. So we do all of our dating during the day. So it's just, I like it. It works for me because I can still do my favorite thing, but hang out with my favorite person.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's a good time. And I like not having to explain, because I've dated people that weren't comics, and to be like, getting something last minute where you're like, I got to take this, which the feeling and to explain it to someone that doesn't get it
right.
is hard. You look like a jerk, but you're like, I have to take this opportunity. And that kind of stuff is off the table now, which is nice.
What do you think? And I know this is a hard question to answer. What's the hardest thing about dating a comic that you've had, like, that maybe now you work through and you're like, we got this down, but this was hard at first?
At first, it was hard because I like to tell as much of the truth as possible in the material.
Yeah.
And I forget how much there's exaggeration used in writing. So there was a brief window where I was like, but that didn't happen. Or it was about another, you know how like it's happened in the past, we got to make it current.
Yes.
So she was talking about an ex-boyfriend, but made it a current boyfriend. I'm like, I didn't do that though. And that moment was hard, but she still is one of my favorite comics, but at the time she was one of my favorites. So I was like, I had to get through it quickly because I was like, well, this is still a great joke and we're still getting along. So it's
right.
Separating the art from the artist was just a small window. But now we were having a date the other night after a show, and she had a joke about the current guy she's with. And it was something that never happened. So at dinner, I was like, so who is that? Tell me the story of who that guy was. And then we had a laugh, her telling me that story. Where in the past, I would have been like, what the heck? Just for a little minute.
Yeah.
It was weird. But now I'm like, everyone. But do you get it where you have people, when the person tells the joke about you and everyone knows you're together and you can feel them all look at you? That is... I get it. I understand it. It is annoying to a little degree.
It's a little vulnerable at times. Depending on what it's about.
Yes. But also I'm like, I feel like I have to laugh extra to let them know this is okay.
Yeah.
Because if it's a joke I've heard a million times, I'm not going to laugh as hard, but I have to do it for this audience that's now looking at me.
And say yes.
And I'm like, come on, just watch her. She's doing a great job. You don't need my my physical approval.
It's almost like when it's a room of like mostly one race, and someone makes a joke about a race, and they look at that one race. They're like, is it okay if we laugh at this? And you're like, yes, it's fine.
Everything else was fine.
Yes.
Why does this need approval?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
But that one, I'm still like, just watch her. She's doing great.
Right.
You don't need me in this. But I'm sure it happens when the tables are switched. So
100%.
Yeah. But it's great. It's very fun.
When's the wedding?
We have no idea.
You have no date yet.
No date. That's the only other thing about being engaged to a comedian is we have to make more money. So but thankfully we're not in a hurry.
Yeah.
It's like the engagement, you're like, oh, okay, we're kind of married.
We've committed.
Yeah.
We've committed to this decision.
Yeah, we're in it. We're just going to have a party eventually. So we're sort of just figuring it out. And it's actually less anxiety inducing to do it as slow as we're doing it. So that doesn't hurt my feelings either. I already feel like she's my wife. So
Aw.
yeah,
That's nice.
yeah. I don't want to know what she feels like, but I'm where she's like, I'm still out there.
No.
I'm joking. But yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Alrighty. Okay. This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com. When it comes to taking care of yourself, well, you're probably going to want to trim your balls. Isn't that right? Trim your ball hair.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah.
Caitlin would be pretty upset if you trimmed your balls down.
I don't know if she'd be that upset, but I would.
I mean, it's usually something that has to do with growth hair removal.
Yeah, it's important. It makes you look like you're doing better down there. It looks healthier. It's not as sweaty and itchy and all the other dwarves.
It's cleaner. You got the perfect package, 4.0 from Manscaped.
That's right.
Your dick looks bigger.
That's right.
It's, when it comes to men's grooming, you always want to make sure you have the right tool for the job, basically.
Exactly, yes. And I love Manscaped. I think it's great. It really it is safer.
You don't want any nicks. You don't want any blood.
There's no nicks.
The lawnmower is amazing. You use the code Natalie C for 20% off, manscaped.com. Put down the scissors, back away from the tweezers. Get ready for 3 good reasons to check out the Manscaped. They're all-in-one grooming essentials kit.
That's right.
Good for your health, good for your hygiene. Oh, they've got a ball deodorant. Have you tried ball deodorant?
No, but boy, dude, I'm glad it was invented. I'm so glad it exists.
Well, when you go down there, you take a whiff, you don't smell any sweat. You just smell nice.
Oh, man, that's great.
Refreshing balls.
That's right. I haven't been able to bend that far in a while, but I'm glad that other people will be happy.
The other thing about Manscaped that I really like is it'll make your man more confident.
Yeah, it does make me more confident, and I like the I like the tools. They look good. They get the good grip. It's very easy. It's not you're not getting all the mirror angles and everything. It's very seamless.
So you're more hygienic.
Yes.
Shorter hair, your piece looks bigger, and you're more confident. So use Manscaped. Use the code Natalie C for 20% off. Manscaped.com and free shipping. All right, let's get back to the show. So you just recorded a special.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It's called Before He Was Super, because my name's Steven Rogers. It's the same name as Captain America, and I look like he did before he was super. It was recorded at the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, New York, and that's where Brian Regan saw me for the first time. I opened for Brian a lot, and that's where the Colbert Booker saw me for the first time. So a lot of stuff happened for me there, and I wanted it to be recorded at a place that means something to me. And Caitlin was there. Caitlin was kind enough to open for me, as well as a couple other comics that are buddies of mine, and it was fun. It's on YouTube, and it's free. It's very good, as I've been told. This is where my self-esteem starting to show itself. I think it's good, and I am good.
Watch Steven's special.
Please watch it for the love of God, and share it for God's sake.
What's it like working with Brian Regan?
It's so fun.
Yeah?
He's a hero of mine. He was prior to that, and now it's just even crazier to be like friends. And I love watching him work. You know, those moments where you get to just watch someone annihilate, and it's like a bittersweet moment where you're like, I'll never be.
It's humbling.
It's humbling, yes.
Yeah.
I'll never be that good, but that's the fire that makes you work hard. And I just love watching him.
100%.
It's so fun.
I remember the first time I met you, we were at, or the first time that I remember, but I feel like it was the first time we were at an open mic at a bar in Midtown.
I was trying to remember the bar on the way over here.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
I remember Peter Wong there specifically.
Yes.
He's one of your good friends.
Peter opened on the special.
Yeah,
Peter's
so I was thinking it must be him because he was. He's a good friend of yours. He's a good
amazing guy. Peter's so funny. He's so great.
And there at the bar, I remember the open mic had like one of those white folding tables.
Yes.
And it was just atrocious. It was must have been humiliating for me. It was just atrocious.
I remember chatting.
It must have been like 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember meeting you. It was at that bar.
Oh, it was atrociously embarrassing.
Like an L-shaped bar or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
There was a back room with comedy.
Yes.
It was in Midtown.
I don't remember the name of the place.
Something with a pig?
Maybe.
No.
I don't know. It's Irish bar, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's where I met you, and it was great.
We have very different experiences.
Well,
I was definitely a 3.5 minute mic.
It was a 3.5 minute mic, I'm sure. And I remember when I was thinking about it on the way over here, I was like, there's no way I did anything that was good either. So that's how we all. That's how my favorite comedians feel about the past.
Okay.
They all are like, oh God. Because you're going forward. If you're like, man, I've always been great and I'm getting greater.
That's true.
I have a hard time relating.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. And we've been in the city since. Were you just starting or just here? I don't know.
I was.
Man, that's a long time ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, and you had just moved from
Syracuse, yeah.
Yeah, which I'm going to, and I have to sneeze in December.
I announced my sneezes too.
December 23rd. I'll be in Syracuse
this
Funny
is really
Bone.
fun. That was so fun to watch.
Syracuse Funny Bone, December 23rd. I will be
really?
there. Yeah.
I might be in town. I might come watch.
Yeah, come. I will be sneezing.
Yeah, that you just revealed your closer on the pod. Yeah, I'll be home for the holidays. I'll come watch.
Oh, it's the holidays. Yes. It is. It is the holidays. If you're home for the holidays. The funniest thing happened to me. I was in Tampa this past.
I'm sorry you lit up so much. Oh man. Yeah, go to the Syracuse Funny Bone. It's and go see Natalie.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm gonna be the Syracuse. I'm excited to do some funny bones. I'm gonna do a Hartford Funny Bone the day before, and then
nice.
This will be already out.
You're going to be in Albany.
I'll be in Albany this weekend. The Patreon people will know that, but then it's coming out the next month.
Albany's amazing.
Yeah.
Albany's probably Syracuse is where I started, so I have some bombing memories. But Albany's my favorite funny bone.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
because it's my first time there.
Oh, that's gonna be great. You're gonna have a good time.
I'm excited.
And everyone is nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you talk on the road? All right.
Yeah.
On the road, everyone's so nice.
Oh yeah.
In New York, everyone's like really nice.
I have. So wait, you said nice twice, but I'm assuming, yeah. All right, so we're on the same page. How do you feel more comfortable on the road?
No, I feel that comics I feel are kinder to me on the road. Is it because they are not? Is it because they are not? That's just the way they are. I don't know.
I think that we're all more competitive here.
Yeah.
I know I feel better on the road because that competition feeling is sort of gone.
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure it out myself because I have friends. My fiance lives here, and I still am more comfortable when I'm gone.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm super comfortable with her, but if I go to clubs here, I think everyone hates me.
Me too. It's terrible.
Yes, but I think it's a feeling that a lot of us feel. I wouldn't say everyone, but I had the other night where I was waiting to go on, and I must have showed my hand too much, and somebody was like, that we like you, and because there's that feeling of just no one respects what I do. Everyone thinks I stink. The stuff I've got, they don't know why I've got it, or
at least you got it,
right?
But we all know why you got it. You're funny,
right? But we all have those feelings. But on the road, it's only a handful of comics on the show, and there's not competition because they all have the spot that they're currently going to do, and then we all hang out after.
It's nice,
yeah. But I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. But is that how you feel?
I do. Well, I feel like there's an overwhelming amount of comedians everywhere you go in New York. It's too many comedians everywhere. There's a lot of comedians. You never go on the road and there's 30 comedians in your face saying, hi, hi, hi.
Yeah.
So that's a good point that you're making.
Yeah.
And there's no one ever waiting to maybe jump on a show.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah. Maybe one person can get a guest spot. And that's a fight amongst them, not with you.
But I don't know. I do feel that this is what I say when I feel really down about comedy is that in New York, I feel like I'll leave conversations. I'll have no idea how people genuinely felt. And it makes me feel so bad. I'm like, I just talked to that person for half an hour. I have no idea if they like me. And it makes me feel like shit.
Right.
And like, that could be true on the road too. But for some reason, it doesn't bother me.
Well, you get to leave.
You get to leave, and I don't care. And I don't care about the people in New York, too. And I don't know even why I would give anyone that power to care. But I just feel like, I don't know. You do get that overwhelming feeling of like, when you let it get to you of like, I feel like feeling like people, like just bad, like that extreme social anxiety in New York.
Oh, yeah. I mean, couldn't relate to you more on this.
Yeah.
But...
And in reality, New York is the most narcissistic place ever. No one cares about anyone else.
No,
and everyone is literally only thinking about themselves.
100%. I had a set it was last night. I had a set where I was like, it may have been a turning point in this, I don't know, where I did not do well, in my opinion, and I did not have fun. And I got off, and I did have the first feelings of everybody saw me bomb. They think I stink. And it was just like I ran and did a mic. And then I sat there and watched more people, and I was like, oh, no one remembers what I did.
Yeah.
And no one's going to remember anyone else's set but their own.
Right.
I think just reminding yourself that this is a big therapy thing I learned is you got to look at all the data. So, like, if you want to prove a theory in science, you can't just look at the data that proves you're right. You have to look at the data that is proving the opposite too. So everyone hates me is the thing I'm trying to prove. Well, here's all the things that prove that, but what's all the other stuff that proves that is not true?
I definitely need to think about that more.
I'm still having to do that myself.
I focus so much on the negatives.
Yes.
Like, and that is a big criticism that I get from people in my life. Like, you're always just focusing on the negative, and it's so hard not to let that be the louder voice.
Well, that's a big thing with me as well. And this is another therapy thing. We're programmed to look at the negative because it helps with survival. It was like looking at, focusing on the negative things so you're not caught off guard was the instinct in our base, whatever, animalistic forms. But now it's like positive is important to look at. It's just not your instinct to look at that.
Okay. So
These are
you're
other
kind of like
words.
Preparing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For protecting yourself from harm. Yeah.
Okay. But in this case, we don't need to do that in the same.
Yeah. I think this case is a radical acceptance thing of I can't control how other people feel about me, and it is a waste of my time. I should focus on my work and the people that I know where I stand with, or the people I know that they always make me feel good, or I have a healthy relationship with them, even acquaintance level.
Yeah.
And the other people, I'll be nice to them, but you don't have to hold on to their interactions.
It's so tough. It's just
it's
constant. It's exhausting.
Yeah. I'm saying
really
all this
exhausting.
And I still have to do it.
Another thing a therapist once said to me is how other people feel about me has nothing to do with me. And I really like that sentence.
Yeah, that's a great sentence.
But it's difficult with comedy.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. So this is a non sequitur, but it's a brief story that deserves to be on the podcast. I was in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl came up to me after the show, and she said, I just want to tell you, I had sex with this guy. He was very ugly. But the only reason I had sex with him is because he told me that I look like you.
And how did that make you feel?
And then she goes, so... Thank you.
No, that guy should be thanking you, right?
She was really pretty too. She was like a pretty girl.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but I don't.
So she only had sex with him because of the compliment.
So he sent her a picture of me and said, "You look like her."
Oh, he didn't even do it in person?
No, he DM'd her a picture of me and said, "You look like this girl." She was on a work trip. And so then she fucked him. And then she came back home and she went to my show because he told her about me and said, "You look like this girl."
Wow, this guy's getting you fans. This guy's getting
He's
laid,
getting himself pussy and he's getting himself fans.
Yeah.
And getting me fans.
You're following.
Who is this guy?
Both of your numbers are going up. This is great. I gotta tell you,
I want to know your take on this.
No one is ever gonna come up to me and say that.
I gotta get your take on this.
I've never heard of anything like this in my life. This is crazy. So, she got laid because both of them find you attractive.
I guess she does, but in a different way.
Yeah, you gave her the you gave her a confidence boost. Your attractiveness made her feel good about herself.
Well, she said he wasn't cute.
But
maybe he was. He was cute enough.
Well, what did she say? She said ugly.
She said he was a bit ugly.
Okay.
But he might listen to the pod. I'm kidding. He probably doesn't.
I mean, I didn't think about that until this moment.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, the problem is that it's not like this is happening multiple cases. So,
no, it's already once in a lifetime.
Yeah, but that's got to make you feel good.
Well, it was interesting.
That's a feather in your cap.
And I don't have many. And so it's a feather. And listen, I need to focus on the positives.
There's all positives there.
I think this is a good moment to pull a tarot card. Did you want to pick a deck? I brought you two different. I was literally saying, always pick decks specifically to the people. And I said, I'm going to pick two different ones because I collect tarot decks. I don't know if you know this about me. I collect tarot and oracle decks.
Okay.
And I have so many of them at home. I pull a card every deck to see if it encapsulated the energy of the episode.
Oh.
And so you can pick which. We can do both, but we'll pick one at first and then see which one. Do you want the Cosmic Cunt Tarot or the Santa Muerte Tarot? Which one are you feeling today, Stephen?
They both are enticing to me, but this is, this is just screaming at me.
Yeah.
To take this one.
Yeah.
So let's go with Cosmic.
I had a really nice pull from this yesterday, to be honest.
Oh God.
It is really. It's a good day.
I'm very excited. Ooh. I'll put this like this. Look at that.
It's a good day. Does
anyone ever shuffle tarot cards like a dealer?
They do. I feel like I've been doing it wrong and I'm trying to get better at it. And I always have the guests put some energy into it, but I'm realizing not everyone does that. But here, shuffle a little bit, put some energy in.
Okay.
Yeah. Just shuffle a little bit.
And shuffling puts energy into it.
Well, in our world, it's all about intention.
Sure. I'm going to do it as a gag.
I'm just telling you that's going to show up in the cards, Stephen.
Oh, well... as long as this isn't insulting to the gods, okay.
Well, just give it your best intention.
I'm doing my best. I'm still thinking about this lady. This is, no one would ever come up to me and say, "Hey, your headshot got me laid."
They might just be shy.
They're like, "Hey, I'm sorry. That's so great."
It was a good. You know what? It was a good day, and you know what else happened? I posted about this and talked about it on my stream, but I spent $50 on the claw machine.
Oh,
and then I was given. No one cared that I was given the staff card, unlimited swipes. After all of that, and then I actually was so focused on the claw machine that I didn't bring Dan off stage.
How much time did he do?
Well, he was fine, and then he's like, Natalie, and then the manager's like, she's at the claw machine. He's like, no, you're kidding. And then she's like, no, she's at the claw machine. Then he got another joke out of it. And then I ran up, and he's like, Natalie, I was like, no, and but I did win Yoshi.
Oh, that's great.
Listen, when you put a claw machine in front of me, I can't be stopped. I had the timer going. I kept just being like, one more swipe.
A claw machine win burns into your brain. It's a great moment.
It was rigged for sure. I won. The thing is, I love Mario Kart. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And it was a Mario themed claw machine. I love claw machines and I love Mario. Sometimes I think there's something a little off in my brain. But
no, that's accepting joy, in my opinion. I'll give you a dorky thing.
The feeling when I won was there's a double date of these high schoolers. Dan said that when I walked away, they went, "Is she 6?" Anyway, tell me the dorky thing.
That's back to what we were saying earlier.
Yes, I won.
Those are people that they just see someone having a good time. We're all guilty of it. They see someone having a great time.
And a good time.
And out of something that they perceive as small, and they decide to make you the weirdo when it's them that can't see.
And they didn't get the plushie.
Yes. They're Yoshi-less.
They're...
We were, Caitlin and I went to Salem. And Caitlin's a big Hocus Pocus fan.
Ooh.
And I remember I saw the first one when I was a kid. We watched the new one and all that. We go to Salem, and we're walking around, and it's very touristy, so we get away from all the touristy stuff. And we had just bought edibles, and she was like, let's do a half edible while we walk around the neighborhoods. And as it kicked in, we stumbled upon the house from the first movie. There was not a tourist tour thing. No one was. There was like a couple people around. We found it by accident, and we freaked out like children. And we just went nuts. Took like a million pictures. We were like, "Oh my god!" And it's like, yeah, that's
fun.
Those moments are amazing.
They're worth it.
Yes, exactly.
That's cool that you found it.
I'm still riding that high.
So this card just fell out, and I feel like that's a sign.
The problem is it looks like me, which bothers me.
It's the 9 of specimens.
I mean, these are covering them, but those are my ears.
9 of specimens. All right.
What's 9 of specimens?
Heck yes. Look at you. Basking in everything you have. You are truly fulfilled. You've gone through so much, and you've come out the other side a better little galactic being. Indulge in life's fanciness. Enjoy your moment. Embrace the ones you love. Take some time to just enjoy the here and now.
I think that nailed it.
I love that one. That was nice.
That nailed what we were just preaching.
That was really nice.
That's so great.
That was nice.
Holy crap.
That was good. That was a good one.
So I'm going to...
He's a nice little guy.
Yeah, I'm hoping to send this picture to my fiance and get laid.
It'll definitely turn her on.
I'm like, you like this 9 of specimens?
Huh?
All right, I'm sorry.
All right, Steven, where can people find you?
Please follow me on Instagram. Steven Rogers. Why is this already killing? This is great. Look how funny I am, everybody. I just say where you can find me. Steven Rogers Comedy on Instagram. StevenRogersComedy.com. All my tour dates. I'm going all over the place, so please come see me live. Find me.
And your special.
Special's on YouTube. Before he was super. Just hit like and share it, for God's sake. People need to know I exist.
YouTube.com/
Steven Rogers Comedy.
Love it. And as always, YouTube.com/ Natalie Cuomo, @ Natalie Cuomo _ on Instagram, @ Natalie Cuomo on everything else. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com / Natalie Cuomo. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.